We got to pray for our mothers. I said it just a little while ago that what the world needs now is prayer. Sweet prayer. I mean, there's a lot going on right now with our mothers, and you're getting ready to see some clips of just some of the most saddest things that have been happening between mothers and their children. I'm going to show you guys this clip, man. Sit back, get comfortable, get you something to snack on, man. But we need prayer right now, more than anything. Because this right here, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. What this mother did. I know a lot of moms are doing this. I know it's happening out there. This isn't every mom. Disclaimer. This is not every single mother. But I know that there are people out there, and you're getting ready to see the proof in the pudding in this clip I'm going to show you, that are doing this stuff. Already causing pain and hurt and turmoil. I don't want to say too much. We're definitely going to talk about it. But let's get into this.
The ultimate act of betrayal. Leaving your baby terrified, alone, unprotected, to suffer what I heard was the most gruesome death imaginable. With no food, no water, no protection, and lying in her own feces. You decided you needed a vacation. And what followed was absolute depravity. You left your baby, Jalen, trapped in a pack and play without food and water for 10 days. This wasn't simply an oversight. You could have saved Jalen's life many times. You could have found someone to watch her while you were gone. You could have taken her with you. While you were in Detroit or Puerto Rico, you could have called someone in Cleveland and told them that Jalen needed help. Dr. Mooney indicated that rigor mortis was found when they found her, which means she didn't die that long before you came home. Think about that. Despite all of her suffering, that little baby persevered, waiting for someone to save her. And you could have done that with a simple phone call. On count one, aggravated murder. I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On count 5, I'm going to sentence you to 8 years to run concurrent to count 1.
So this lady went on a 10-day vacation. Puerto Rico, living it up with a man. And she left her 1-year-old, I believe the report said that child was, 16 months, 14 months, 16 months. So it'd be about a year and a couple of months. She left her 1-year-old child inside of one of those playpens. You know, you can put the baby in the playpen and put the little toys around them and they can kind of just crawl around and, you know they're safe because they won't get out. And that's usually used for like maybe mom needs to go cook something, or maybe mom needs to, I don't know, go sit on the couch and take care of something, or maybe use the phone or take a phone call. So I can put you in that playpen and you're going to be safe. You're going to be okay. But the problem with this is she didn't just put the baby in a playpen just to go take care of a simple task. She was hours and hours and hours away in Puerto Rico. This baby's back in Cleveland, Ohio, I believe, where this took place. And The obvious child neglect, the ultimate betrayal, is what that judge called it, this case, as he was reviewing it and judging it. The obvious neglect of the child, that's one thing. But can we talk for a second about what could have been, or what, as a matter of fact, what was going through, and what goes through a mother's mind in order for them to leave their 1-year-old child? We're not talking 11 or 12, where they're kind of already getting to that point where they're starting to become independent. We're talking 1 years old. We're talking 12 to 15 months ago, this child was still forming inside of her very womb. So what goes on? Is it such a strong desire to want to get out and have fun? Do children make you feel like they're burdening you? They're inhibiting in your ability to enjoy your life? That's what this sounds like when I hear situations like this. Seems to me that she needed some time away. But the judge put it very clear, man, and he was honest about it. She could have called somebody. She didn't even bother to call anyone to say, hey, my 1-year-old's child is at home, unattended. Some reports are saying that she left some food and some things in there, but it's like, what was this? Your dog? Your cat? You made sure the food was filled up and his water bowl was ready to go? 10 days. Reports say the neighbors nearby, the reason that this baby was able to be saved, or really found, not necessarily saved because the baby didn't make it, but the reason the baby was able to be found and discovered is because nearby neighbors were hearing uncontrollable screaming, as what they described it as. This is one of those things that we really need prayer for. Because I don't know, and maybe you can help me understand. Maybe y'all can help me out. Because I don't even know how someone could get to that point. Especially a mother. You know, when I think of motherhood and I think of mothers that I've seen and the pregnancy stages, the birth, all of that connection that you get, that you build, that bond, it's unbreakable. I've seen it before. So it just shocks me into pieces to know that there's a mother out there that not only would neglect her child for an instant, but for 10 consecutive days while she goes and parties abroad with a man. Bro, where's our society going? What's happening? I'm going to say it again. What the world needs now is prayer, sweet prayer. I know the song goes love, sweet love, but bro, we need prayer. We need prayer because this is mental, you know, and I'm just being honest. My humble opinion, this is a mental thing. Some therapy, definitely, and some prayer, absolutely, because this is sad. And I'm not sure if she had any remorse. That little clip there, once he started to sentence her, she didn't really seem fazed. I'll run it back for you guys again so you guys can kind of see it. But the judge is kind of just shocked as much as I am. And it's like, she kind of doesn't seem fazed, man. Doesn't seem like she's in regret. She is in remorse, anything, man. It just, wow. I've heard mothers say that they couldn't even leave their child unattended or with someone else, a babysitter. They don't do babysitting. They don't do sleepovers and all that stuff with other people's houses. And I've heard that even be said. So it's like for her to like go to the extent that she went to and demonstrate from what it appears to be to have no remorse about the situation. That's the work of the enemy, in my opinion, in and through somebody. But we need to pray for her. We need to pray for moms in general. It's a tough job, man. It's a tough assignment. But what a lot of people don't realize is that our children are gifts. And the way we parent them, that in it of itself is a ministry. Parenting is ministry because there's ways that you can do it wrong and there's ways that you can do it right. And there's benefits to the ones that are receiving it, the children, for parenting being done right. And there are some detriments, if you will, some disadvantages, trauma that can come out of parenting, the ministry of parenting being done wrong. The Bible is very clear, and gives us good instruction on how to be as parents. And this is just not one of them. Let's check that clip out right here at the end, just so you can see, before we move on, just how detached she was from this situation. As if maybe she thought there was going to be a different outcome. But what do you expect to happen when you leave your 1-year-old child in Cleveland, Ohio, and you go on a vacation in Puerto Rico? Let's run this back.
And you could have done that with a simple phone call. On count 1, aggravated murder, I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On count 5, I'm going to sentence you to 8 years.
Yeah, man. It's just plain, because when you look at the case and you hear from any realm, she has no excuse. There's no way to excuse it. I can't justify it. I can't give you the benefit of the doubt. There's almost no grace given in these kinds of situations because it was just an ignorant thing to do, man. It was just an ignorant thing to do. It was very selfish. It was very selfish. No one's saying that you don't deserve a vacation, that you don't deserve some time off. Like I said, motherhood is tough. I wouldn't know, I'm not a mom, but I'm a father. And that has its own battles in it of itself. So I can only imagine motherhood. It's challenging. It's tough. You might need a breather. You might need to step away. But just like the judge was explaining, and I agree, you could have always asked somebody. You could have always asked for help. What the world needs now is prayer, man. Sweet prayer. But talking about, and this is going to be a good segue to get off of this and talk about another mother who a lot of you guys might know if you really spend a lot of time on the platform. This mother of a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. Kind of did vlogs and everything, family vlogs, explaining and expressing how she parented her children and things they went through. And it kind of was a lot of things just all out there. And I don't really agree with kind of just putting all your business out there and letting your kids' lives and everything be exposed to complete strangers just to prove a point. I don't really agree with that. That's not my method. But the method that she was doing, it was working until it wasn't. Let's check out this clip and you can get a little bit of synopsis about what was going on. Some of the things she did, you're going to see that in this clip here. Some of the counselors and the therapists that got involved because of what these children were going through, because of the exasperation. Like I said, there is a wrong way to parent. There is a wrong way to do the ministry of parenting. And exasperation is one of those things. And you're getting to see that, getting ready to see that firsthand. So let's get into this.
Social media influencer who preached tough love parenting with harsh punishment was handed some harsh punishment of her own today. Former momfluencer Ruby Franke was sentenced to 4 to 60 years in a Utah prison. Her business partner Jody Hildebrand will serve the same sentence.
She committed horrible acts of child abuse. Ms. Franke held her children, ages 9 and 11, in a concentration camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment.
42-year-old Frankie, a mother of 6, broke down as she spoke about her children in court.
I would do anything in this world for you. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. How terrifying this must have been for you.
She rose to fame with her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, with 2 million followers. She and Hildebrand were noted for their tough discipline.
We took the phone away from Abby in November. And you may never get the phone back.
But while she posed as a loving but strict mom, she was actually subjecting her kids to horrific abuse, even tying them up for long periods. She was exposed when her 12-year-old son ran to a neighbor for help.
He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Frankie pled guilty last year and flipped on Hildebrand, who then pled guilty too.
In our institutional memory, this is one of the worst child abuse cases that we've seen.
How do Kevin and his children heal?
I think there are 2 parts to it. I think the children at some point need to feel like they can trust adults again after what Ruby and Jody did to them. And I think the second part of that is for Kevin to continue to get professional intervention. He's actually engaged frequently with a therapist who's helping him walk through this to help heal the children. But I think, and this has already kind of partially happened. His contact with them and his evidencing his support and comfort for them and renewing old memories when their family was great and having them inside familiar surroundings where they can be with their things and their rooms. And I think that's the way, at least in my opinion, I think that's what the therapists involved now are hoping to achieve, is to give them some level of comfort in their environment. And secondly,
interesting. So apparently the dad didn't really he wasn't involved in this. It was the lady and Frankie, they were saying, and her coworker that was pretty much a friend. This is that exasperation, taking things away from them. And it's treating them, like you said, going days without food, water, making like bare necessities, the bare likeness. Everyone, they need water, you need food. It's just bare minimum necessities, making that something that they have to earn and or deserve. That's abuse. That's abuse. But you know, people would always say, oh, hurt people hurt people. I'm starting to believe that even abused people abuse people. There is a level of forgiveness that you have to have for yourself, for the people that have wronged you, for your parents, if you will, in order for you to be able to effectively carry out parenting, for that matter, and whatever other missions and duties that you're called to carry out. It's interesting because, in my opinion, I would think that with the father not really being involved with what was going on, kudos to him. But on the other end, I would think that you should still know, as a man of a home, and even as a man of God, this family is known to be, I believe, a Mormon family. I believe this is based out of Utah. And as a man of God and the head of the home, as God calls us to be, I think that you should position yourself to know what's going on. So there is a part of instruction, yes, but there also is a part of protecting that comes with the ministry of parenting. This is very sad, man. And to use it, and a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people find themselves in these positions where these parents, they're using their children, you know, for growth, for fame, for exposure, whatever the case may be. And it's not looking right, man. It's not a good look. I feel for these kids. I definitely feel for these kids. And in correlation to the mother who went to the vacation in Puerto Rico and left her 1-year-old in a playpen for 10 days and that child lost their life because of that, let's say if that child didn't lose their life and they grew up, sometimes that trauma that was inflicted onto that person, it carries on. Then they become an adult who does things to their children and it continues to go. But when does the cycle break? This has to stop. I feel that on the religious aspect, people saying they're a Mormon, I know a lot of parents on the religious aspect, they do parent out of fear. So they come down more harsh. It's more of an authoritarian style parenting because you're afraid. You're trying to overprotect. You're trying to protect too much. But at some point in that ministry of parenting, just like in the ministry of anything, we've got to trust God that as long as we're doing what we've been instructed to do, he's going to take care of the things that we can't see. And furthermore, the things that might be a little too much for us to handle. Things we're unaware of. Things that we can't prevent from happening, but God's ultimate power is going to be able to protect our children. Instead of trying to take phones away from them so they don't have access to the world because the media is dark and this is dark and that, trust that God is going to protect them. Teach them about the love of God. Teach them about the grace of God, the mercy of God, the protection of God. And believe it ourselves. Because like I'm saying, sometimes we can parent out of fear. Sometimes we can live out of fear. We can make choices and decisions out of fear. And it puts us in positions where we think we're doing the right thing, but we're not. God tells us to fear not. He didn't give us a spirit of fear. He gave us sound mind. He gave us love, peace. So we got to use that sound mind. We got to use wisdom. And we got to know that exasperating our kids and abandoning them, neglecting them, it's not right. It's not right. And I'm not pointing fingers saying that people are bad people. This is a bad mom. These women are bad, 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 bad. No, it's unfortunate. It's sad. And they need help. And we need prayer. Our mothers need prayer. They need prayer. This is a tough time. And motherhood is tough. Fatherhood is tough. The ministry of parenting is challenging. We need prayer, and we need to be praying for our mothers and praying for our children and praying for other families, man. I see and hear stuff like this, and it always hurts me because in the time that I spend praying, I realize that I'm not nearly using the belief I have, the power in my tongue, and the power of prayer in a way that can really help other people. Sometimes we go to prayer and it's a little too selfish. That's for our own needs. But to really kind of just shut the lens on my own life and open the lens for others. And have sympathy for it. And know that this is an attack of the enemy, division, that those negative thoughts, for a mother to even leave her child for 10 days to go on a vacation, for these mothers to exasperate their children and send them through things and neglect them of basic necessities just to send a message and prove a point and just to grow a channel and to grow a business or what have you, whatever the case may be. We got to know that there's a problem in that, and that problem needs to be addressed with prayer. That problem needs a savior. There needs to be a renewing of the mind, because I think a lot of people are afraid. Even that mother who left her child for days, 10 days to go on a vacation in Puerto Rico, maybe she was too afraid to ask for help. The judge said you could have called someone and asked for help. Maybe she was too afraid to ask for help. But you can't live a life in fear, because God encourages us not to fear. Fear not. Do not be dismayed. If you believe in me, believe also in my Father. For in my Father's house there's many mansions. He says, I've gone to prepare a place for you. We've got many mansions in his Father's house. There's no reason to fear, parent out of fear, live out of fear, make decisions and choices out of fear. If you need help, ask for help. But above all, we got to pray. We got to pray for the ministry of parenting, and we got to pray for our mothers, and also pray for our fathers. Because these are the ones that are in the position right now, mothers and fathers. We are in the position right now to either cause trauma for the next generation, or we can instill things in them and parent them the right way under the ministry of parenting. And we can reap good benefits for themselves, for ourselves. And to be more pleasing to God, man. We don't need too many people growing up in all these generations like we got going on now. People just sad and depressed, and anxiety and depression at an all-time high. Suicide rates, divorce rates, all the negative things, percentages, just way too high. Way too high. We got to do something about it. We got to do something about it. And we have power in our tongue, and we have power in a God that we believe sacrificed his son's life for the sins of the entire world. That if we believe on that one thing, we're saved. That's powerful. I appreciate you guys, man. That's all I got for you guys on this one. Thank you guys for staying all the way to the end. If you have, per usual, I'm always appreciative of that. I want to do another giveaway. Comment down below your best moment from this video, something that you learned. The most inspiring comment that I read. I want to send you some lunch money. God bless you guys. I appreciate you guys staying as always. Like I said, to the next one, guys. That's all I got. I'm out.